There is so much fun crap here. If you get turned on, it's your own problem. Ready,
I just
Seth?
can't turn around now. That's
You're gonna have to go over. I said ready, Seth. Go back.
Yeah, no.
Hi. Hi. Welcome to Murphy's Law Garage. We are at House of Boost today.
I swear we're working on cars.
We are 100% working on cars, and something is about to go down on the dyno right there. But we're probably gonna have to wait. Anyways, so there is a cool truck on the dyno right now. We're gonna be filming around it. Well, we've got Boundry's dual stage, their new dual stage oil pump gears.
Don't drop them.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful parts here. They're so silky smooth whenever you move them.
We should wait and see what happens when we lube them up.
Oh yeah? That's what she said.
Yeah.
Anyways, so let me explain to you what's gonna happen here. I came to House of Boost because these guys do like one oil pump gear every, I don't know, like 15 weeks or something like that.
15 minutes.
Oh yeah. Like literally they do dozens of these things a month. So I want to make for the internet the best possible video on how to do oil pump gears on a Gen 4 Coyote. Now it'll apply to other Coyotes with slight variances, and we'll point them out as we go, but it'll do one of two things. For the guys like me that are kind of teetering, I'd like to do this and just need a better explanation. Those guys, we'll call them the 1%ers here, they'll feel more confident and they'll probably do it in their drive or whatever, right? Like I would do. Other guys are gonna look at it and go, oh hell no. And that's probably gonna be the absolute majority of people. And then you're gonna bring it to someone awesome like Jordan at House of Boost over here, and he's gonna put them in for you. And you're just gonna go eat good barbecue and take naps and your car will be done. Anyways, we're gonna get into this. I am gonna skim through some stuff as we go. Like, I'm not gonna show you how to take the intake off the car. I'm not gonna show you how to take the air boxes off. I'm not gonna show you how to disconnect hoses. I will point them out and say you need to do it. If you can't do those things and figure it out for yourself, you do not belong in the front timing cover of this engine. Just stop. You need to bring it to him. I shouldn't have to explain that to you. But going back together, we're gonna give you torque specs and stuff like that so that you know what you need without having to have a shop manual. Anyways, enough talking. Let's get into this. I Am Seth is behind the camera. Hashtag I Am Seth. And he'll probably never be seen or talk as usual. So.
Thanks, JB.
All right, so the very first thing we're gonna do is we need to strip the motor down, right? We gotta get rid of a lot of periphery stuff to get to the valve covers and to get to the timing cover. We're gonna show you what I like to call the de minimis way of getting to the oil pump gears, getting the valve cover out. Technically, Jordan says the blower is supposed to come off, but obviously no one who has a blower really, if you've torqued a Whipple down, it's not a hard thing to do, but it is very tedious. It would add a lot of time. We're gonna show you how to snake the passenger side valve cover out of here without removing the blower. So like I said, very first thing, I want this battery and the battery tray out. Obviously, I'm not gonna show you every single step of this, but if you take your clips out and you pull your battery cover, I'm gonna unbolt the battery, and then there's a brace here, and then the lower battery tray that is going to come out. So I'm gonna get down to that. I'll show you the parts that I've removed, and then we're gonna move on to removing the rest of the cowl and the windshield wiper blades. Be right back. All right, battery's out the hole. Gotta get it out the way anyways, but people remember, unless you wanna be like me and pop big fuses that are expensive in the engine bay, just take the damn battery out, disconnect batteries whenever you work on stuff. To get this brace out right here, we have to now progress to the cowl. The cowl is just a bunch of plastic clips, and then we're gonna pull these caps off on the windshield wipers. There's a nut, we're gonna remove the nut and then pull them. Jordan's got this cute little pulley here that's gonna help us get the windshield wiper blades off. It's better than prying on it, so we're gonna go ahead and move into directly that, and we'll bring it right back. This probably comes with instructions. I wouldn't have read them anyways.
I was gonna say, I don't think it does. I think they just assume you'll know how to use it.
I'm just too dumb to have figured it out.
I would not have ever said such a thing.
You could have. Are you ready, Seth?
Yeah.
Once Jordan shows you how to use this cool tool, you can screw it down and pop the windshield wiper blade out like you actually know what you're doing. I don't. Don't pay. In fact, just bring it to House of Boost because I'm probably going to blow my car up. We need to take the cowl off. The cowl is clipped in the corners here, so you're going to pull your corners out on both sides. Just literally reach in. That happens on both sides. And then we're going to reach under it here, and there's a channel it's pushed into, and we're going to pop it out of the channel going down and across to the other side of the car. We'll go ahead and get it out. All right, and just like that, it's popped out. Next, this brace has to come out. We're going to pop this harness off. Got a handful of bolts here. Let's get that ripped. I know at some point y'all wanted to see my hands in the camera like they normally are, right? The magic hands. Hey, Seth. This is Seth. This is his magic hands. Hello, Seth. All right, so anyways, clearly we've got the battery tray, the battery wall, firewall, the removable firewall that comes out. We've got the cowl, we've got the wiper blades off. You can see here now we've got very open access. If y'all watched my icy chiller video, in fact, you can see my custom crimp line here. This stuff has all been out before so that we could get those custom chiller hoses in here. But anyways, clearly that's what gives us a bunch of room to dick with this valve cover right here, right?
Dick with the valve cover.
Right. Push that guy back. Somebody y'all know should probably take time every now and again and clean the filters for their car. Now, how much of this was rain and dust from the ride here? I don't know. They're pretty dirty.
Does this come off a motorboat?
Yes. You know, I've only had the air boxes out of this car a million times and showed y'all, look, I'm just stop. And showed y'all on camera how to put them in. Meanwhile, you can watch me struggle in real time to try to chase these boxes out here. This is the bad one. Okay, the other one's easy, but yeah. Even not even a semi-professionals have trouble with this.
Performance anxiety.
Performance anxiety. It doesn't want to get up. Now that we've gotten the air boxes out of the way, we can say hi to Steve. Steve has been watching over the Whipple supercharger in the engine bay. He's a little dry, tired. I'm not sure. Sorry, Steve. I know you're trying to give me a new towel after I found this suspicious stiff.
Don't worry about that. We don't ask
dry
questions
and
around.
crusty.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna keep using it.
Yeah. Well, I bet.
Yeah.
Air dry like you do beef jerky.
Like for 14 hours. Yeah. Can you imagine all the heat in there? Are you ready?
Mm.
So Fred wanted to come for the ride with us, but we forgot to put him in the car. He got cooked a little bit for 14 hours down 100+ degree highway. So Jordan went and located a hoe for us.
It's a short little piece of hoe.
Okay. And what were you saying about it?
Well, I'm going to use this to keep us from getting coolant all over everything. So I'm just going to shove this.
It appears our petcock fits in the hoe.
It does, indeed.
We're saying hose, not hoe, okay? Stop. Get your mind out
More
the
than
gutter.
one, right?
More than one. See, there's obviously 2 holes.
Is that 2 holes or is that 1 hole?
There's always 2 holes if you try hard enough.
I knew there was no such thing as a wrong. It looks like you're about to start praying.
I'm praying to the gods of coolant to not get this all over my car, us, or the floor.
Oh, you're gonna make a mess. No way around
So clearly, you need to let the coolant out before we start playing with all of this stuff. Do that. Let your coolant out, okay? We need to get this valve cover off. Jordan recommends taking the valve covers off, kind of like a back to front approach, and take this off and then work our way down the front side. So the very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my catch can out of the way because it's in the way to bolts. And then I'm going to pull the coil packs off, unclip all of the harness connectors off of it. And after that, we're gonna get the direct injection fuel pump off, the high pressure fuel pump. There's a 12mm bolt right here that Jordan tells me is difficult and likes to break. So hopefully it doesn't, but if it does, I guess you're gonna find out how we get it out if it did. So If you're working on your car, go ahead and get the coil packs and the wires disconnected, your catch can out the way, and we'll come back at the direct injection pump.
Come look at what JB did.
What did I do, Jordan?
Good thing we're catching up.
Oh, my wife is gonna have things to say about this, Jordan. Oh,
I
yeah.
think you need somebody to guide you in there.
If it had a little bit of hair on it.
Oh, man. Good thing I put that hose on there so you would get it into the pan.
Yeah, great. Sorry about that, Jordan.
Oh, now I gotta clean it up.
Oh man.
I'm not used to the one to clean it up.
Yeah, we'll find someone. Seth. All right, so here's the infamous 12 mil bolt I'm talking about on the bottom of the high pressure pump. I've gone ahead and put a hand tool on it so I can feel it real well when I break it, inevitably. So let's try. It feels really gummy. It's not even really tight. It just feels gummy. Let's see. Can we put some lube on it on the way back in? Maybe spit on it? Does it work better after that? It's dragging all the way out. I'm not going to say it. But you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're thinking and don't say it.
Oh, it's getting tight again. Oh no. I'm going to say it. It's out. We got it. Okay. I don't know if y'all can see just how much Loctite. Can you see that? Oh my gosh. The amount of Loctite in that hole and on the bolt. Jordan says this is considered a safety thing. So like if the car gets in an accident, it doesn't knock the high pressure pump off and spray fuel all over. Look, Ford engineers, listen to me. If I want to die like a man, let me. If I'm trapped in the car, I don't want to die slowly, I want to die quickly. So stop doing dumb crap like this. So we keep some fuel from going down into the valley here while the engine's warm.
I've seen somebody put fuel drip down in the spark plug tube, and then when they go to start the car, it blows the spark plug. It blows the coil out.
Or your fingers are tinier and do this better?
No, my fingers aren't
Finger it
tinier.
real good.
Oh gosh.
Come on. Get your fingers in there. Come on.
I got it.
Finger it.
We're already on it.
Come on.
Why do I gotta be the one to do this? This is the part that sprays you.
We'll move and let me do it.
Okay,
I was
yeah,
going to get it.
Okay, go.
So clearly, everyone, we're taking the hose off of the high pressure pump.
So what they would tell you to do is disconnect the fuel pump relay and then start the car
And let it out.
Let it run out.
Like that would be like probably the safe and practical thing to do, but we don't do things like that. So a little bit of gas came out. Some of that high quality 91 that I could find on the way in.
Oh, you got the good stuff.
I needed gas and there wasn't a station anywhere around, and 91 is what it was.
Smells good.
Clearly we've already gotten the coil packs out of the engine here. Again, if I have to explain to you how to take coil packs off, just walk away from your car, please, before you hurt it. Jordan would love to do your oil pump gears for you. Now we're going to move on to taking the high pressure fuel pump off. Taking this hose off is a bit challenging if you look at it right here. Seth, you want to get it close in? You're going to squeeze in these two clips here, and you might need a little assistance from a flat blade like we did to help push it past, and then literally the hose just pops off. And like Jordan was saying, you could pull the fuel pump relay or the module under the seat and start it and let it run and die to get some fuel pressure out of it. But my cologne is gas usually, so this is just me smelling better for the day. Okay, so I just touched butts with Jordan, that's cool. This line here, technically, to get this off the way that you're supposed to, you would remove the blower so you could get to a nut like this that is at the back of the DI rail under the blower. That's a lot of work, and as I said, it is very tedious to take these blowers on and off, and we end up having to open up the heat exchanger loop and more coolant and time. And right, automotive techs are all about doing things the fastest way possible, assuming it's right? But generally, there's more money to be made if you can get stuff done quicker. There's no harm in massaging this line out of the way. Do what you want. If you want to take your blower off, have at it. If you have in a car, then just take the manifold off. It's super easy. Just unbolt the manifold, get it out the way, unbolt the line, unnut, unscrew the line, unnut. I like unnut. A nut sounds good. Yes.
D-nut the line.
denut the line. But we're going to disconnect the fitting here and massage this line out of the way enough. Oh, there's a clamp here too. We're going to massage this line out of the way enough that we can get the valve cover out without dicking with the blower. Okay? Do as we say, not as we do. Whatever. Have fun. That is nice hot fuel on top of a hot engine. That is a fantastic recipe. If you're cooking meth anyways.
Cigarette, anyone?
All right, you can stop pissing at some point. That'd be fantastic.
Me or the car?
Both. All right, we've got the high pressure fuel pump off. That is 2 nuts capture it, and it literally just lifts off out of here. Now, the next thing we're gonna do, very obvious, all of the valve cover bolts are coming out. Once all the valve cover bolts come out, Seth is gonna watch me struggle while Jordan giggles in the background as we fish the passenger side valve cover out. Bring it right back. I asked Jordan for a long extension because I was trying to get into a tough spot. And well, this is what happened. So Jordan made sure that I'd say that this is, what do you say, Jordan? Hashtag taking the 10R80 out of a Mustang? Yeah. We just kind of, there, he's cringing so hard.
I'm coming over here. Is that actually working?
It worked. There we go. See, now I had enough extension. This is the guy she tells you not to worry about. So, assuming you get all of your bolts off, you can probably fish your valve cover out of here. This already looks like it's going to be interesting with massaging the fuel line. So we're going to massage the fuel line, and I'm going to bring you back when the valve cover's out. Well, me too. This comes out, right?
It does.
Like you're not being...
I'm not messing with you.
You're not being silly with me. Okay, I'm just making sure. All right, so clearly the valve cover is off. Now, I'm going to warn you. I'm happy that Jordan was standing here going, it's okay, you've got it, pull harder. I'm sure I have a
And
feeling.
then the valve cover too.
And then the valve cover too. I feel like he says this a good bit. Don't take that as you will, because it is snug. Not removing the blower or the hoses and trying to squeeze it past the cooler lines. If you don't want to break the system open, it's going to be tight. Just be prepared for it to be tight. One thing I would tell you that we probably should have done from the beginning, and it helped a good bit because the AC line was pushing, was to just take the studs out that hold the high pressure fuel pump on. Because initially that was the hard bit, to kind of get the valve cover to climb up over that and get out. So I don't know, I think the AC lines in my car are different than your GT and the S650, because mine uniquely doesn't have the TXV right here like the other cars do. And because of that, this line is in a different position, and I think that might have been part of it, because you see how far it points out towards the valve cover? It was pegged against that pretty hard. I'm not making excuses. That sucked. It's gonna suck. All I'm saying is it came out of there, and if Jordan's standing next to you telling you to pull harder, it gets done. I'm telling you to pull harder. Be careful.
Pull harder, but gently.
So I've already got my catch can off that belongs on this side, but same problem, same solution. There's a bunch of crap in the way of the valve cover coming off. Take the same crap off that's here. The only difference is I'm about to disconnect this hose here so I can take the Whipple reservoir and just push it out of the way. Jordan was saying we might have to cut some zip ties here to get my line organizing undone so that we'll try to go out this way, but they might have to go out that way. Same thing, coils, valve cover bolts. Carefully remove the valve cover, but forcefully, like Jordan says. Just go a little harder. All right, y'all, here's the magic fingers again. Just like that, the driver's side valve cover is off. That is so much easier to do than that jackass over there. So rejoice, you've done the hardest part, Jordan says.
The hardest part of the valve cover.
Yeah. Now, on to everything on the front of the engine. Everything. Everything. Clearly, we've removed the throttle body. We've moved on to the front of the engine. So throttle body, it's 8 bolts. You got mine, I have to remove an adapter because I'm slow and I have a stage 1. Next, I'm moving on to the cooling system. I'm going to take the entire reservoir and its lower line out here, as well as where it connects here, and connects there. Then we're going to slip that part of the reservoir system out and out of our way. and then I'm moving on to the thermostat housing upper radiator hose. All right, coolant hoses are coming off. Most of the engine side coolant hoses, that's all out of the way. We've got the Y here still connected. We're just gonna fold this up out of the way of the cover whenever it comes off. These clips right here, you use a pick to pull the clip out of the housing on either side, and you can grab the bottom and pull it out, and then it's loose. So the next thing we're gonna work on is taking the thermostat housing off and out of our way. And one of the things that's going in it is a 170-degree thermostat.
So for you. You
Oh.
stay there.
Oh, God. A wild Jordan showed up and turned a wrench for once today.
I have never done this before in my life.
Not a single time ever.
Is this where I put it?
No.
Do I go this way or do I go this way?
The other way. Make it
Okay.
tighter. Okay.
That's what he
Jordan really, yeah, that's exactly what he said. Jordan really wanted to take my belt off. He took the wrong belt off, though.
said. Yeah, we don't need this one. I'm throwing it. All right.
All right, so here you can see in the all data here, the part of the beginning of the timing procedure, but more or less what Jordan has explained here is that we need to get the engine into a natural and relaxed position so that the valves aren't under tension and could possibly release whenever we remove the chains.
Kind of like anal. You got to get them in a relaxed position or it's not ever going to work.
Yeah. Oh gosh. We don't want to ram our valves into the pistons.
Right. We don't want to cause any damage. We want consensual valve positioning.
Consensual valve ramming. Got it. So we need the exhaust cam on the passenger side, which is this guy right here. There's an R on it. That R needs to be in the 12 o'clock position. So we're going to take an 18 mil socket to that crank. We're going to rotate the engine over clockwise, right?
Correct.
Okay, clockwise until the R is at 12 o'clock, and there we're relatively assured that the cam is in a neutral position for the valve ramming.
And we'll show you that too.
What he's actually doing is pulling is that the water pump pulley?
It is indeed.
Yeah, water pump pulley off. So real simple and easy here. The next step is we're going to pull all of the pulley assembly off of this motor so that we can get the timing cover off.
Whoa, not that one. I'm just kidding. I'm just totally messing with you. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry actually at all.
No.
The slightest bit.
I
But
need you to be real. Well, it's got compression. I can tell you that. If anyone was concerned, I
right,
sure
all
hope
right.
so.
here's your mark. So we want it up here. Can you see the mark where you're at?
I can see that guy right
That's
there.
that's the L, right? Is that the R? That's the R. We're good. So yeah, we want that
The
to
arrow
go.
pointing up.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep. There you go.
Let the compression release.
So come look at the cams. Look at where each lobe is. So down is open valve. And you have no that are completely straight down. So the location they have you put this at, look, like this
Everything
lobe's
is
up,
neutral.
up. And these are kind of off, but not down. These are right here. You can't see them very well.
Yep,
'cause
they're
it's looking up.
sideways and up. So,
So if
none
you
of them are
look,
pushing on the valves.
No matter where the piston is, there is no
No chance of hitting them.
chance of hitting it.
And so that's what we mean by consensual valve play. All right, y'all, so once the engine is in its consensual valve position, the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to take the, this is the transmission valve for the coolant. It directs coolant flow to the transmission. There are two bolts right here. We're gonna pull those out and zip tie it out of the way or bungee cord it. And then the next thing that needs to come out is the tensioner bracket for the Whipple. Now, this is going to be different. If you don't have a Whipple car, just know that all of the idlers and tensioners and crap need to come off the front anyways. You'll eventually end up in the same place as us, but for us, with the Whipple, this guy needs to come off next. We've got the idler tensioner assembly for the Whipple or / your NA car out of the way. Next thing we're going to move into is getting the water pump off. It's got some 10 mil bolts here that need to come off. Looks like, what's that, 3, Jordan? 3 10 mil bolts. It's going to come off and jump out of the way.
Yeah, it would be more.
It fan dangles. See this guy? We're gonna get it out. Be right back. Jordan has advised me that my car is about to have some incontinence, so he's taken a puppy pad and stuffed it in the engine bay for what comes next, and that is
Oh yeah, you think? Yeah.
whenever this comes off. He's laughing at me. Clearly, it does not just like to pop out of the hole. Or is there some? Oh, here it comes. Ready, set. Oh, so much.
Oh, and you're pulling the puppy pad out of the way.
Oh no, get back in there. Well, it's running down the face of the block anyways. What the hell's the difference? All right, y'all.
Oh god.
Water pump is out. It looks pretty good. Alrighty then. Well, the alternator's got to come out. That one was a little bit of a surprise to me. I don't remember seeing that in the videos I watched, but he knows what he's doing, supposedly. Oh my god. Did you plan to drop crap all over the ground?
Nope. Stuff just happens. This is what the real world looks like. Cellulite, and we drop things. That's the real world.
Yeah. That's happened a good bit. There's still a missing hose clamp that we need to get out of the belly pan at some point.
Out of the missing things.
Yeah. So the alternator's got to come out. There is 2 bolts, and you remove the stud, which is a 7mm, and then we can take the alternator, scoot it forward, unbolt the wires for it, and get it out. Now, Jordan assures me if you really want to, you can just squish it down out of the way, but rather than getting oil on it and it being in your way while you're doing things, just get it out. There we go. And the alternator's out.
Just like that.
Side note, unless you want to do some 12-volt welding, always disconnect your battery before playing with your headers, okay? No one saw that. I wanted to try a couple of ways to get the AC compressor belt off. Jordan giggled and laughed and pointed the whole time that I did them. And realistically, the method that we're going to use here is we've got the crank pulley extractor here. This is not your normal crank pulley extractor. I've heard this a dozen times. Do not attempt to use a standard puller on this. You really need to use the one that's got the sideways hooks on it that grabs behind the arms of the pulley. No other one, or you will have a bad time. So the way we're going to get the belt off is I'm going to run this bolt in. As I run the bolt in, the puller is going to pull the pulley off the crank, and then we'll be able to extract the belt after that. So you do this however you want to. If you've got a fancy tool for the compressor and all of that, Jordan has it, hates it. It looks half broken already. Do whatever you're going to do. But this is what we're going to do. And it's better than your way. All right, so this is what the correct puller looks like. Does this have a part number on it? This is the Snap-on Pay With Your Soul HDP 1800-1. So again, Pay With Your Soul HDP 1835.
That's the whole kit, is the 35.
Anyways, this is the style of tool that you need to do this job. And that tensioner, let me tell you,
Always done
the tensioner is on there, and you really, really, really need to have a good puller. That's the most common thing I keep hearing on the internet of guys doing this, is how hard it is to get this crank pulley to come off. And it's because they're using the puller that's not designed to work with this crank appropriately. So this is the guy that you need. Now, even if we'd have hurt this guy, it wouldn't matter, because we have better race car parts to put back in. You'll see in a bit. All right, so clearly now the timing cover needs to come off. There are a ton of bolts for the timing cover. They're all over the place. They're 10s and 13s and such. There's quite a few on the front of the timing cover, studs and such. They're all around the outside, obviously. And then I believe there are 4 from the underneath that come up through the oil pan. We're gonna pick the car up to get to those, though you can get to it with the ratcheting wrench from the bottom. And yes, Jordan bought a fancy new tool we're gonna try today that may allow us to sneak the oil pump pickup off without dropping the oil pan on the S650. So we'll cross our fingers and see how well that goes. If not, it's no big deal to drop the oil pan. It's like an extra 15 minutes. But anyways, let me take all the bolts off, and we'll be pulling the timing cover. Jordan trusts me way too much without a funnel. Be responsible, people. Don't pour your coolant down drains and shit. That's not nice. Make sure you get it in the hole every time, too. What do you give that, Seth? What would you give that pour? I got a little on the edge. A little on the edge.
7 out of 10.
A 7? God! Can't make anybody happy. gave up and picked the car up, took it off, and scrubbed it with soapy water.
Yep. We have a hose and stuff next door.
Here's another friend we brought from Louisiana. What's this one's name? You named him.
Tamale Joe.
Tamale Joe has some beautiful wings if I could open them without destroying them. You know what? Look at that. Tamale Joe had a bad time. He got cooked
Not Joe, no, bolts.
He got cooked at, probably 200 degrees for 14 hours. So he ain't doing great, but we'll try to bring him back. All right. The oil pan bolts you're trying to remove are here, fingers, here and here. I've already got them off. This harness is out of the way. There is one more, and that sucker is, oh, you see it back there? That's the guy right there. Come on, camera, focus. That's the guy right there that just lit up a little better. And to get to that one, you're really gonna want to pull the under trail off the car and look up at it from in between in here. And then we can pull it off. Right?
Right.
As long as you promise me you're gonna get it in. What do we do now, Jordan?
Well, you jerk it off.
What?
The cover.
You sure?
Under the covers?
Dang. You want to get the money shot on this stuff?
Yeah, sure. Pull your shirt up a
Sure
little
you
bit.
got all the bolts out?
No.
Better over it than on it.
Okay, I think it's loose.
Want me to help you hold some of that out?
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Your
Please.
back for you?
Yeah. I don't have enough hands. Grab the other side.
Alright, so I'm going to drop down a little bit and go under this line here. Go forward. There you go. Take that side up and out. Yeah, no big deal, right?
All right, y'all. After 55 hours of labor, the timing cover is off. In real time, I'm doing this tremendously slower than Jordan does this. But
I didn't say anything.
But it's gonna be probably right by the time we're done. Yeah.
50-50.
So the first thing we need to do is remove the tensioner and try to get this in the shot. The tensioner, which is this guy right here, has a pair of bolts on it, right? What you're gonna do is you're gonna break both of these loose until they're loose, and then you're gonna take this top bolt out and then let the tensioner swing down and out of the way, and that will release the tension on the guide. Technically, there is a tool that you can use to compress it and pin it again and then take it off. Jordan does this a billion times a day, and that's not the way he does it. So we're going to do it the way he does it and let it roll out of the way, take both of the bolts out, and that's gonna get our lower guide out here with the tensioner. All right, so once the tensioner is out and there's not much stress on it, it was fine. The next thing you're gonna do is pull this guide out, and that's gonna slip right out. And then you're gonna walk it over to some place where you put it all together where it belongs and on the side it belongs in. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the chain. Let that guy slip down right here.
Make sure the top stays.
And then I'm gonna grab that. And then, boom. Passenger side chain is out of the hole. Okay, and for the astute of you, you might have noticed that there are some Sharpie marks that we've put here. We wanna take a second to explain to you why the Sharpie marks are here and what you should and shouldn't do, okay? So if I'll walk over here, there's a Sharpie mark on this blue link, and there's a Sharpie mark on this link up here, and they align with marks that we have put. We've got one down there on the crank, we've got a pair of them, one on each cam, and those are sanity checks in this case. We're gonna show you the proper way to time this motor so that you put your chains back the right way. But we have chosen to put marks on the links so that when we put it back together, we will clearly be able to see that the marks that we made previously are back where they belong. And that ensures 100% that the timing is correct. That's why you see those marks there. Now, you don't have to do that. You can use the manual. You can time it per the 100% Ford procedure and just hope you got it right. Or you can just put some fucking Sharpie marks on it and make for certain that you put it back exactly where it was. Does that cover it?
Sure.
Okay. If you're a real gangster, some people might even not even use the Ford timing procedure and just use the Sharpie marks. Don't do that. Listen to what we're telling you to do. The next thing is we're going to break the 2 bolts loose on this tensioner, and now you're going to fully pull this lower bolt out, which is going to allow the tensioner to roll out, and we can pull the guide. All right, so clearly we've already pulled the chain off on this side. Something I want to mention, just so that you know, is that if you're going to put marks on the timing chain, and Jordan was trying to warn me of this just to make sure, if you want as your sanity check to make sure the timing chain is going back in the same place based on your marks, make sure you remember which one of your marks came from the top of the engine and which one came from the crank side of it. If you mix those up, it's not going to be in the right place. Anyways, the next thing to come off Jordan's pulling here is our factory crank sprocket, because we have a very beautiful heat-treated billet crank sprocket. Now, many people talk about oil pump gears. Everyone's like, do the oil pump gears, do the oil pump gears. Jordan, what percentage? I know it's not as common, but I know it's a thing that these fuckers like to crack on the keyway. He's gonna show us one. It is also, it's not as common, but it happens. These suckers will actually break in the keyway right here where the metal is really thin. So if you're gonna go through all of the trouble, you can see it right there. If you're gonna go through all of the trouble of getting all the way down into the engine to do the oil pump gears, you need to do the crank sprocket because this sucker will also let go. So we're doing it. Well, looky here. Jordan, of course, has an example of what happens. Now, clearly this one, did it cause a full failure or did you find it broken?
Failure.
It was a full failure? What I've heard from other people is that commonly you'll go to do oil pump gears or timing job and you'll find that this sucker has cracked on the keyway and is about to go. And that's the lucky guy. Because the unlock. Oh, it's not even a stock one. Oh, nice. Oh, well, okay. What is this one?
This is like a Gen 1 oil pump, forged oil pump gear. This was like the first try at it.
Gotcha.
This thing had like 100,000 miles on it. So this one was of abuse, like straight abuse. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what happens to them.
Yep, and this is catastrophic failure. This ends the engine.
Yep.
You jump timing, valves run into pistons. So we say all that to say you're already in there, just fucking replace it. Okay? Thanks. All right, so to get the oil pump out, we've got these 2 guides now left in here. Focus, you fuck. There we go. We've got these 2 bolts in here that need to come out to take these 2 guides out. It is very important. Make sure to maintain the sides they came from. They need to go back where they came from. So 2 8 mils, the guides come out, and then we'll start pulling the bolts for the oil pump. Jordan, and I'm gonna talk shit about him just because he was so proud of it. Jordan was very proud of this new Matco tool set he has here that he believed had a 45, but clearly it stops at 40. And the hope is that he could use this very low profile setup to sneak the bolts out easier than he's been doing before. Jordan didn't check that it had a 45.
I opened it today.
Yeah.
But, you know.
So what that means is that, well, we're not using fancy tools anymore that you don't have. So if you're doing it in this driveway, congratulations. We need to drop the oil pan enough to sneak a traditional ratchet and socket for that 45 in there. That is an IP45, I think is what that's called.
Yeah, Torx Plus.
Yeah, Torx Plus, IP45. So now we're going to show you, obviously we're not going to show you how to take the oil out of the fucking oil pan. Again, if I have to show you how to do that, you've gone to the wrong place. But we're going to go ahead and loosen some bolts. We'll show you how exactly Jordan would do this in the least invasive way possible. And that'll help us get to the oil pump bolts.
Oh man, that's a real nice Fox body over there.
What you doing? What are you doing, Jordan?
What am I doing? I'm taking your expensive ass oil out of your car.
Oh, why are you recording this right now?
He's watching you slowly eat a Snickers upside down.
So, nothing difficult here. We're literally just going to buzz all of these bolts out. There's some 10s and some 13s, and they're all mixed. So get them loosened up so that the oil pan can drop down. All right, and once you've got all the bolts out, some of them trickier than others, the oil pan is now loose, and we can just push the nose of it down and out of our way, and we can start to fight with these guys right here.
From Jordan, huh?
Tech tips from Jordan. Here's your moments to shine. Show the people what really helps when doing this.
All right, so like, as you take the oil pan down, it'll come down sort of with the gasket. The gasket has what's called a windage tray built into it. Kind of just keeps oil from cavitating in the oil pan. So to give yourself some room, because the way I do it is I take a tool and I go underneath the gasket, between the oil pan and the gasket, so you have to separate these two like this so you can get underneath it. And that gives you just a little bit more room so you don't have to pull the oil pan all.
And you missed it when he did it the first time, but as soon as he separated that gasket a little bit, the pan shot down to the cave member way better. So do that.
Sorry about that. I just do things.
Yeah, he fingered it too fast for us. Anyways, so yeah, we've got our IP45, and there are a pair of these suckers. Oh, let me do the zoomy things. Here and here, and that's the two you're going to be fighting with and cursing at. And we're going to break these two guys loose and then carefully pull them out.
3.
Okay, I think I got it. All right.
Did you?
Come on. Yes.
There you go.
She's loose. Okay. Whew. That is sharp. Wow. I am surprised I'm not bleeding.
You might be.
Just take it a minute. Jordan warned me. I thought he just had soft hands, you know. You know how these northerners from Kansas and Missouri are.
Northern here, right dead center of the country.
Yes. You know how these northerners are. They've got soft hands, but apparently he doesn't. That hurts. Anyways, so yeah, that hurts. The windage tray that's on that gasket that Jordan's talking about is very sharp. Mind your fingers while you're in there. You'll find out. It's okay. Just stick your fingies in there and touch it. You'll figure it out.
Or bring it to House of Boost and let me cut myself.
Yes. Jordan's a bit of a masochist. You can see here he's been cutting his hands on oil pump gears here for a minute. So now what, Jordan? I feel like this involves a lot of fingering.
It does, yeah. So you have to finger both of those bolts out. And I'm gonna let you do that part.
There's no easy way to put this. You literally, once you've broken them free and they're freely turning, you're literally gonna sit there, and this is what Jordan showed me, and do this for quite a while. Mm-hmm. So if you wanna do your tiny praying with your fingertips, this is what you're gonna be doing. And this, ladies, is why mechanics make the best lovers.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
That's cool. We have magnets. We'll find it. You ever been magnet fishing before?
No, I feel like I might find out.
This is the mechanics magnet fishing right here, what you're about to do.
Oh, it got tight again. Come on, there we go. Yeah. Let me rub some oil off on this. Here's my tip while I'm doing this. Try to keep as much oil off of the head of it because it's very slippery. And I've got AMS oil in here, and so it's even more markedly slippery than normal oil. It is very, very, very slippery. Please don't just randomly fall out into the oil pan. Why is this so long?
That's what she said.
God, why? It just keeps coming.
I can't do it. I'm going home. I'm packing my stuff.
It just, why is this so long?
Well, let's just cut the end off of it and put it back.
Like Ford, what the fuck? Why is this so long?
Anything worth doing is worth overdoing, boys.
Apparently, look, you see how long this boss is on the side of the oil pump, people? That's how long this fucking bolt is. I guarantee you. I hadn't seen this bolt yet, and I'm telling you it's going to be as long as that boss is. For what reason?
That's like 6 inches.
That right here is clearly at least 7 inches. Just so you know, this has been going on for 2 minutes.
Yes. Oh, don't. Oh, God.
Drop it.
No. Where is it? Get the magnet.
There you go. I was just ready to say the drop.
I'm pretty sure I see it.
Almost. I almost did exactly what we were talking about.
Magnet fishing. See? No problem.
Wow. Why is that so long, Ford?
6 inches.
That is every bit of 6 inches. What are you shaking your head for, Avery? My suggestion is to turn your hand upside down and reversed finger bang this one because it is substantially more difficult. Well, for big fingers, I guess. Jordan's got pretty big hands, but we're almost there. This is, look, this has only been 2 minutes a piece of bolt of our lives probably at the end of this, but this is very annoying, and I get why people complain about it. It is very tight. Everything is sharp around the bolt. My fingernail and my finger right now are getting cut up by the edge of the block. So yeah, this is fun.
Are you still working?
Shut up. Jordan walk off and come back like, oh, you're not done yet?
You sure could do a lot in 2 minutes.
Oh, whew. My fingers have muscles now. That's impressive.
You got a 6-pack on your...
We have to put those back in at some point so the excitement isn't over with.
That was the easy part.
What? Hi, here's a bolt. It goes into the oil pump. It's a 13. There's now 3 more bolts in here. And
2 more sizes.
That are 2 more sizes. It takes lots of different sockets to take those bolts out, but you remove those 4 bolts and, well, we're gonna have an oil pump. We'll be right back. All right, so all 4 bolts out of the oil pump. Now we need to remove the oil pump. I'm going to push the oil tube down, the pickup tube down, to get it out of the way. You can see now that it is slid out of the way, and I should be able to carefully slip this off the crank without harming it. And
It's gonna lick your everywhere.
voila. Oh God, that is a lot of oil. Now we have a mess on Jordan, the floor, myself.
You got it all over me.
Oh God, I'm still dripping. Stop the bleeding. Stop the bleeding.
We're gonna run out of freaking rags.
Somebody get the towel.
Well, shit, I dripped on the car even.
I know, that's what I was saying.
Like, you could have warned me.
I was literally trying to. I was literally like, it's gonna leak. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh well. We'll be cleaning Jordan's floor before we leave. We've made a hell of a mess on it. All right, and here is the oil pump assembly. Now we need to take this apart and put in, obviously, the new oil pump gears. So we're gonna get to a nice clean place where we can show you things with lots of light, and we're gonna disassemble this and show you how to put it together, okay? All right, so once all of these bolts are out, and what size is this?
IP27.
An IP27. So IP27s, to remove those 8 screws, really is what they are. And now you can, wait for it, there's a lot of stiction in that oil. Boop. Open up the backing plate and expose the oil pump gears. Now, let me ask you something. We're dropping oil pump gears in here, but I've heard the internet talk about sometimes deburring things in there. Is there sometimes burrs that you find inside of the oil pump housing?
Yeah, you go through and just kind of look and see if there's anything, run your fingers around it. If there's anything that it catches, then yeah, deburr it. But out of every 10 of these I do, there's like 1 that needs cleaned up. So
Okay.
It's worth looking at.
If we find a burr, we'll bring you back and show you what it looks like and how to clean it up.
There you go.
Anyways, we're going to go grab our fancy gears. We're going to inspect this really well and then show you how to put it back together.
So like really in this situation, we're looking for any imperfections in the housing where one of these rotors could touch. So like here it touches, here it touches, here it touches, here it touches. You want to make sure all that's good before you put brand new gears in there. And as far as like my experience with the S650s, these housings are machined pretty well. They usually do a pretty good job.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to grab the new gears and we're going to show you putting them in there. It's going to take just a second. Yeah, so I was looking at something interesting and I said, Jordan, come look at this. It kind of looks like there's cavitation damage on the tip of the rotor. And that's what these actually are. They're not gears, they're rotors. And if you look, you see that pitting and scratching it looks like it has? That's not actually scratching. There's no damage on the outer rotor in that same position where they touch each other. And we'll still for just a second. You see how nice and clean that surface is in there? There's none of that in there. What you're seeing is actually damage from cavitation. What happens during a cavitation is you generate a ton of pressure in a micro area, and any air or moisture in the oil kind of collapses in on itself and explodes outwards, and that's what creates damage here. That creates cavitation. Whenever it has that outward explosion under negative pressure, it can actually lift metal away from a surface, and that's what you're seeing there. That is damage from did I explain cavitation well?
Sure.
Okay. I didn't know if he was making a face at me. That is cavitation damage, right? Now, this can also be induced if the oil foams, right? So there's multiple ways to get cavitation. So you could overspeed and create the situation I just told you there, where you have a negative pressure and it creates a bubble that bursts, or you could foam the oil, catch air, that sort of thing, and that also will cause cavitation, but kind of in the opposite direction because it'll trap the air. But this is definitely cavitation damage. That is super interesting. That cavitation is like detonating an engine, right? It's kind of the same thing. You're having an explosion in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that will eventually cause a failure of this rotor. And these are actually, the technical term for these are gyro rotors. And I want to take a second to show you how these work. So the way that this pumps oil, you look at it and you're like, well, how in the world does this pump oil? Because it's just a pair of gears. The oil enters from the pickup tube here and it enters this cavity, right? So the oil is chilling here in this cavity and needs to be lifted across to the exit, which is on this side. What happens, and let me put the gyro rotors back in. That is a very snug fit. Come on. That's tight. Get in there. Come on, get in the hole. There it is. The gyro rotor, this guy in the middle right here, makes a rotation and picks the oil up from here under suction as it passes by, and then the whole assembly rotates, and the little bit of oil it picked up gets redeposited on the front end. So if I take this, as the crank is rotating, this is open. This will profuse and suck in oil, and then it will rotate like this, down and around, and it's going to push that oil. Well, if I spin it the right way, it's going to push the oil through this cavity down off to this side, pressurized to feed the engine. That's how this works, except it's spinning really, really, really fast whenever it does it. And you can imagine if a cavitation event was going to occur, while, let's say, imagine a detonation event in an engine when it's timed incorrectly, when the fuel burst happens at the wrong time. If when it performs that pinch, you see that pinch right there? That's almost like a compression stroke it's creating. So what'll happen whenever it's in this position right here, on the back edge of the rotor as it moves away, a strong vacuum is created here, and you can actually cause the moisture in the oil to boil out and burst like things do under vacuum. And then also, if the oil is foaming, you can also trap air, and then on the compression side of the stroke here, consider this as a stroke, right? On the compression side of the stroke, if the oil is foaming, you've now trapped air in here with that oil as well, which can also have kind of a cavitation effect and burst. And that's how you end up with, if I can get it out of the hole, that is very slippery, the cute bubbly little pitted marks on the end of that rotor. That's super cool. I didn't expect to see this. And you said that this is pretty common whenever you take them apart? Interesting. Okay. Why do you think it does that, even for stock? Is this just because the car is tuned and revving a little harder?
I think you're operating outside of a engineered RPM range, probably.
Gotcha.
But I mean, it would take a long time to cause any serious damage, but you could over time, like if you had a sophisticated enough way to measure your oil pressure, you could probably measure a small drop as things wear out. But it would take a long time for that to cause a problem. But the biggest problem with these is typically they'll crack here.
Right. When it goes into the compression stroke, as it's sucking in the oil from this side, it'll actually break under that compression stroke.
And then you lose oil pressure, and then you're doing the
So
engine.
can we show them the new oil pump gears and how
Oh, these are top secret. I'm just kidding.
how Boundry has fixed the cavitation issue that these have? Y'all notice something different about these? What do y'all see? They're two stages. Explain why two stages helps prevent cavitation.
Well, you're not trying to do all of your pressurizing of the oil in essentially one stroke. You're doing it in two separate places. So you're not putting all of that onus on just one side of the rotor. You're doing it in stages, so it's less.
So this guy is doing every stroke of oil is just this surface. This entire surface is taking in a stroke of oil.
So
And this guy, there are two independent strokes occurring. One feeding oil. One stroke of oil is feeding oil into the next stroke of oil as it forces it over to the high pressure side. So it divides the work into two separate strokes, therefore halving the amount of stress that's put on the tip of the gel rotor as it turns. Right?
Yep.
Sound good? Okay. So now we're going to stick these in the hole. Do we need to do more cleaning?
Oh yeah.
Okay, we're going to do some more cleaning and we're going to show you getting them stuck in a hole. I have here what Jordan has referred to as Smurf jizz and then ran away rather than saying it himself. This needs to go literally everywhere. So everywhere the oil pump gears touch the surface of the pump housing, there needs to be Smurf jizz everywhere. We're going to take more and I'm going to rub it in here. I'm going to take more and rub it in here. And the point of this is to help the oil pump gears out. Much like assembly lube, it's to help the oil pump gears out when the car starts for the first time. It helps the oil pump gears prime for the first time, and it helps keep there from being any excessive wear on the oil pump gears while the engine pulls its prime. So we're literally, I'm going to smurf that up. I'm going to smurf this up. I'm going to take these are Boundry, by the way. These are Boundry dual stage oil pump gears. These are hot off the press. They've got their fancy treatment coating on it. But I'm also going to rub the Smurf jizz outside, inside, inside, outside, all over it. We're going to bring you back once this all looks blue. Clearly,
You jerked off a Smurf.
Jordan's comment about what this ends up looking like is correct. I look like...
I don't know how you know that that's correct. By what metric are you measuring that?
I would assume that the emissions out of a Smurf, this is what they'd look like. So I've got the outer ring sat in this housing already, and Jordan made a really good point. On this guy, it says this side up, and yes, even the stock gears are directional. They've got a mark on them. It matters. And in this case, this side up means if it's sitting on the bench and looking at you, that's the side that's up. But Jordan made a good point. If you've got a laser etching machine, Boundary, why wouldn't we just put backing plate side or front of engine or something like that, so that, because it is kind of like, well, hold on, you could, if you want to be a bit of a tool, and I'm being a bit of a tool right now, Boundary, so have peace with this. What side is up? I mean, has the car flipped upside down? Is the engine out of it on a jack? I mean, just, you know, are we putting the oil pump gears in with it upside down? Anyways, I've clearly covered everything in blue jizz. I am going to sat the oil pump gear into the housing. And what do we need to do now, Jordan? Other than chase you around the shop with blue fingers.
I would put your blue fingers under the sink. That's what I would do next. Clean yourself up and come back and we'll put some bolts in. We'll put the cover on and put some bolts in.
Yep, we're gonna show you, is there probably a torque is there a torque pattern for this, or you just kind of send it?
There is a torque pattern.
Okay, so we're gonna show you a torque pattern. We're gonna put lots of red jizz on those.
That's not red. No.
Is it? Oh, is it blue?
Yeah, it just looks red. It's a trick.
Oh, well, more blue jizz, a different type, is going to go onto the bolts, and we'll show you how to do that. Be right back. Let me try to look less like I had fun with the Smurf. So is any concern for grease being on any part of certain mating surfaces that might make this a problem?
Well, as with any mating surface, you don't want
a bunch. So maybe
you try not to get stuff on the mating
maybe that's a
surfaces.
little too much right
Yeah,
there. Because right there's, if y'all can see here, there are surfaces that backing plate needs. Like, see, there's a little extra right there. You could throw the torque specs off, is what I'm getting at. That's why I'm asking Jordan to try to make sure that we don't have too much grease in the wrong place, and it actually throws off the torquing as we tighten this down. And I actually just found that I don't quite have enough jizz on that little guy right there, so he's gonna get a little bit more jizz. Okay, now this guy goes like this, it appears, and gets sat down like that. Jordan has already kindly put some blue Loctite on here. A dab on the end of it is all it takes. And I am going to start some of these machine screws into the holes. And the next is obvious. Let me get all of these in, and then we're going to bring you back and show you the torque sequence that we're going to use to make sure that this gets tightened down just right. Be right back. All right, so we have very gently brought the screws down using the gun, no impacting here. Inside working out in a star pattern, so inside, opposite, working out until we've gotten all of them gently snugged. By hand at first, and then ran them down. Now we're ready to actually start the torquing procedure. What do we torque it to?
89 inch-pounds.
89 inch-pounds. So we're gonna torque them to 89 inch-pounds in the same pattern. Inside working out, this one's the closest. Inside, opposite, 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 opposite. You get the point. And then we'll probably run over it a second time just to make sure that everything's settled, and then we're ready to go.
Love having the rain.
I'll start to feel like maybe I've done it. I'm already starting to feel like I missed it. And then that's the first set of torquing. We're going to go back over it one more time, just to make sure. Sometimes when you torque things, it wiggles around and resettles. One more time and we're done. You know, the beauty of being in a shop where they fix broken cars and do a bunch of oil pump gears is that we get to have examples of these things. We showed you the crank sprocket, right? But I wanted to show you an actual broken oil pump gear. Now, whenever Jordan did this one, the outer ring was still together, but it had a crack here and a crack here. And like basically this car was one pull away from becoming a grenade. And when he pulled it out and found the damage, he took the outer ring and he just carefully dropped it from the ground from waist height, and it exploded. One drop. This is what you're trying to prevent. I was curious. Let's look and see. See, look, this one's got a bunch of cavitation damage on the tips of the gyro rotor too. You can see it there. But yeah, this is what you don't want, the ticking time bomb. All right, so what's next? Well, we need to put the oil pump back. We need to prepare for that just a little bit. The O-ring that is around the oil pickup tube, you need to check that for any cuts or damage. Now, that doesn't get forced up inside the oil pump, so it's not likely to get cut or damaged, but you need to make sure that it's okay because you won't have good oil pressure if that's damaged. We've checked ours, it's okay. We are going to put some multi-purpose grease on the O-ring to ensure that it doesn't get hurt on the way back in and that it provides a good seal for that first startup. And then the other bit that I've done here is Ford had a tremendous amount of RTV on this crank snout. So I've taken the huge blob off the head of it just so that there's not too much. And we're gonna clean it up and add some more. Something I wanted to point out here, and it's trying to fall into the pan, so I need to grab it. Ford put a crap ton of RTV on these corners where the timing cover meets the pan, so you should probably look out for that and keep it from falling into the pan so that you don't end up with a blob of RTV plugging your pickup. So we're gonna do that, and then we'll show you us slipping the oil pump back on. And this is the be careful about what Ford may have done when they put your engine together. You need to look out for that is a huge chunk of RTV, and there's another one on the other corner as well over here. If you see crap like this, take the extra off. You don't want it finding its way to the oil pickup tube. All right, so I've been handed my oil pump by Jordan, and
You would think a media girl would know, but
yeah, well, fun intermission as Avery's Roush pulls into the shop.
I mean, I could think of less interruptions.
Give it a rev!
Rev it up!
Aww.
You're on video, you might as well rev it.
You're good. Rev it! The weakest rev.
That was weak.
That's so weak. You've got oil pump gears. I wanted to hear red line, damn it. Now that we've completed our Roush sound check, let's do the oil pump. Now Jordan has handed me my oil pump back and said, would you like a tip and just the tip dry, or would you like to struggle with it? And I've been mandated that I must struggle with this. He told me to tell you that the tip that you need to hear is to just stick it on there and it's gonna go. I have a feeling, and I think you do too, that it is not gonna be that easy. And I'm looking down in the oil pump gears, and clearly there is some alignment that has to happen here for it to mesh with the crankshaft well. So let me try to key this, and I will laugh if this
Just
oil
slides
pump
right
just
on.
slides right on.
I will too, because then we can go to lunch.
Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Here, let's try it. It sure looks like it's in the right place. Come on, baby. Don't make a fool out of me. Ah! It looked like it was in the right place. That was very satisfying. I almost want to pull it off and do it again. It's like putting in a torque converter.
Yeah.
When you get the last click, you know what I mean? You're fighting with it and it doesn't want to go, and all of a sudden it just goes shunk all the way to the bottom. That's satisfying. I always bring it all the way to the bottom. All right, so clearly the next step here is we need to put our bolts back in and torque them. These bolts are in fact torque to yield from the factory. You can see that we have degreeing here, and there's a bunch of stages. This is the order. Let me hold still for a second, get a good look at this if you don't have a manual. This is the procedure you need to follow. I'm not gonna sit here and show you every step of this. Look at this, follow this torquing procedure. We're gonna go ahead and bolt ours in. Seth, he's just the camera guy.
Hey.
All right, so once the oil pump has been tightened down, the next thing we need to do is put the pickup tube back on again. Of course, we get to meet our friends again, these bolts. Just a bit of advice, when you're putting the oil pickup tube back into the oil pump, be very careful, guide it over. Don't force, it is not a tight fit O-ring. It just kind of sandwiches between the oil pump and the oil pickup. So get it guided to the hole, push it up in, and then you're gonna run these guys in. You're gonna have a really bad time if you cross thread these and screw something up. These should go in nice and easy. Now, someone on the interballs is gonna say that you can't torque it to spec by not completely removing the pan and getting it out of the way. That person works for Ford or has way too much time on their hands, and God bless you if that's what you wanna do. Tight is tight in this situation. We're gonna get it where the old elbow says it should be, so that we don't have to actually pick the engine up and fully drop the oil pan, etc., etc. It's going to be just fine. So go ahead, struggle with getting your oil pickup tube bolts back on, and we're gonna bring you back. All right, y'all. So the next thing we need to do is to put the tensioners back where they came from. Now that tensioner doesn't just have a spring in here, it's backed by hydraulic pressure from the engine oil. We need to recollapse it. So we've got it in a bench vise here. You can also put it back on the car with one of the guides, and you can use your hand to force it back. It's just easier to do in a bench vise, especially for videoing. So I'm gonna run the vise in to clamp it down, and then we're gonna put the pin back in the grenade. It catches on the lip right here whenever you push it in. You see, you can look straight down, it's gonna catch right here whenever I push it in. Now, this car has 11,000 miles on it, and these are basically new, but you've gone this far and you've torn the engine all the way down to get here. If you have any question about this, or maybe just for shits and giggles, just replace them, just because. You really don't want to find out that suddenly you have some timing chain noise and you got to get back in here and fix it. So if yours aren't as very new as mine are, then just replace them. Anyways, I'm gonna hand the camera to Seth, and we'll get a shot of me pushing the pin back in the grenade here. All right, so we're gonna show you now how we're gonna start this timing process. You could pin both tensioners and have them both in here and put all your guides back in, but the method that Jordan likes the most, and it makes the most sense to me, we're gonna put the crank sprocket back on. We're gonna put the lower guide on because that's stationary. We're gonna fish the chain in and get it back in the right position. We're gonna use our marks that we have to do so. And then one thing, of course, obviously before we put the chain in, we've got to put our fancy crank sprocket in.
Make fun of me.
He's ready to shoot. We're going to put a little bit of splues right there on the keyway and then slip it on. Of course, to do that, you need to clean some oil up on those things and make sure that the RTV will actually stick. So inside, outside, this is the inside, right? This stays really close to the engine. So it goes onto the engine this way with splooge on it. And whenever we bring you back, we're going to be set up with the tensioner on, the crank sprocket slipped onto the crank with the splooge, and we'll go from there. Okay, God.
Action!
Yeah, as we've said before, this has got the marks from the other crank sprocket transferred on it. This is, like I said, just our sanity check to make sure that our timing ends up back in the same place. You see the marks. We've got this cleaned off. The crank is cleaned off. I've got a dab of silicone on it. I'm going to reach under this shaft right here, giggity, and feel where my keyway is because I don't want to drag the silicone all over the shaft. I'm going to make sure that I'm in the right place. Feels like about right here. Set the crank sprocket on. Get it in the right place. It might decide to slip on at some point. Oh. Come on. Get on there. All right, there's something I want to show you. You might have noticed when Seth ended that video, I was struggling with the crank sprocket slipping on. It didn't want to just slip on. If I grab the stock crank sprocket, it will absolutely slip on and off the crankshaft just fine. But the Boundry does not. And the reason why is you can clearly see how deeper the machining on the keyway here is on the stock versus the Boundry. This doesn't mean that this is machined wrong. That means that Ford gave you a ton of tolerance so that this could slip easy on and off at the factory. And Boundry is trying to support the keyway better and make the part stronger by getting rid of that tolerance. The problem is that for ours, and this is one of those things that you need to understand. This was built by humans in that Ford plant. Chances are our crank's keyway tolerance is a tiny bit different than Boundry's intended engineering. This shit happens. That's why Ford did this. They know that there's going to be a tolerance in the grinding on that keyway, and they want to make sure that they don't, these sprockets will slide onto every single car in the factory easy, no problem. But of course that makes it weak because of how much material you've removed here. Come to find out, my car has a tight keyway, and we put a pusher on it, and we carefully pushed it down, and we're like, it was moving, and it was moving smoothly, but we're like, we'd really rather pull it back off and double check and make sure nothing is gouging or dragging. And it's not, it's fine. We took a caliper to it, we've measured it, and it is basically an interference fit. And I imagine Boundary probably intended for there to be 1,000th there, or maybe less of clearance for this to go on, and mine is just a tiny bit tighter. Now, I'm not even going to tell you what we're doing here to help this out to make sure it feels okay, because if you've gone this far and you see what's happening right now, you see that tape on that crankshaft, and I'm holding this in my hand, and that scares you, walk away, because this is what separates a true performance shop, real technicians, real automotive enthusiasts from someone who's just going to try to attempt to slap some parts on. Shit like this happens, and if you don't know how to overcome this, do not touch your oil pump gears or your crankshaft. Period. You need to let someone who knows what they're doing touch this. I've said as much as I'm going to say whenever we come back, this is going to be on, and we're not going to talk about it anymore.
Hey, Julian, are you done with this stuff?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
All right, so the crank sprocket's on there. In all seriousness, it could have gone, and it would have been fine. We just want to make sure it was okay. We didn't want the keyway being pushed on so hard that it could hurt the crank sprocket. Seriously, Ford's tolerances, this crank was probably made on a Friday afternoon, and the grinding wheel for the keyway was a little too worn out, and it wasn't as deep as it should have been. Again, that's why Ford has such a large tolerance. I'm serious now, we're shutting up about it. We need to put this back together again. So we're going to now put our lower guide in, we're going to get the chain, and we're going to get this lined up. Don't worry, Watch through this part. We're going to come back and explain to you the timing procedure and how to check it. Be right back.
Thank you.
Just look at your marks.
Oh, you whore. And now it's all fun. Come on, slip down. You slipped off that easy, fucker. All right.
Why doesn't it fit? I can't figure out
Well,
why
I need
it
you to
doesn't
move.
fit.
Oh.
Damn it, Seth.
Seth, get your finger off of it.
I was letting him mess it up. There you go.
IR genius. IR genius.
All right. See it? Is it on there? Okay. Now get your top guide and put it on. Slack. That should give you some slack.
Yeah, we're in it.
Okay. Now.
Let me make sure the bottom is where it's supposed to be before we go any further.
Fucker. Yank
All right, y'all. So we've got our preliminary marks we told you about on. We know that our chain is back into place that it used to be. Again, this is a sanity check thing. We're going to check the timing properly. I've gone ahead and put the upper guide in once we got the chain in the right place. I've got the tensioner in. I've got all of these bolts are 89 inch-pounds on both the guides and on the tensioner. And last thing we got to do is pull a pin on a grenade. Ready, set, boom.
How funny would that have been if the timing chain jumped when you did that? Oh no!
And then don't be concerned that the tensioner didn't suddenly jump out and actually push on the chain. It has a spring, but is backed by hydraulic pressure. So the engine has to turn over and build oil pressure to push on the chain. Which means when you start the engine, no matter what priming process you think or say you're going to do, you're probably going to have a little bit of timing noise when it first starts. That if you don't know better is going to scare the shit out of you. It's normal. Again, we're going to put this time the upper guide in, I think is the one that's bolted. We're going to put the upper guide, which is stationary, in. Put our bolt, 89 inch-pounds, Loctite on all of these bolts is getting blue Loctite. And then we're going to put the chain on, lining up the marks, and then put the tensioner assembly back in. Again, listen to us. You can put the marks. It's just a sanity check. We're going to come back and show you the timing. Calm down. I'll try to actually keep this one in place this time.
That'd be great.
No guarantees though, because well, I'm not you, Jordan.
Stuff gets a scotch on the fun side.
Oh no, get back on. Stop it. Nope, I need you to roll back. Hold on. Go ahead.
Oh, you didn't mean now.
No, the other way actually. Yep.
That's what I thought.
All right, you have to slack me off.
I am working on it. Slacking off here.
There it goes.
Don't push it all the way in.
It went over. Come on. There it is.
It's like a daycare I'm running here.
Oh God. Get in the holes.
Here we are. We're like at least 18% sure this thing's gonna run.
At least 8.
I'd
I'd give it a solid 20.
Ooh. And getting better by the minute, right?
Yeah. And pull the pin.
Bam!
That one actually had a little force.
That one, that's because it's the one that was like.
All right, so now that we've got the timing chain and the tensioners back in, we're going to go ahead and show you how to confirm that the timing assembly is okay. We need to rotate the engine back in the stock position to make sure that the marks...
Were you putting low pump using this thing?
Rough. Good job. All right, I'm going to take a minute to explain to you the proper timing procedure for this and what you're looking for beyond your safety marks like we made. You can see that our crank, the keyway is pointing up. Now, it's not perfect. It's a little off because we've rotated the engine a bit, but more or less you want this to be in the 12 o'clock position. Now, come see. Whenever you're doing the driver's side timing chain, there are some marks on the chain that you're looking for. They're colored darker. You can see here, they show you this here. So the crank is at the 12 o'clock position. And then whenever you put the chain on, you're gonna line up the mark on the crank. You see the mark right here on the crank with the mark on the chain. And then on the timing pulley, the crank pulley, it needs to be in the upper quadrant. And then you need to have your mark right here on the pulley, the sprocket pointing at the colored link here as well. Now they tell you in the instructions, if that doesn't line up, you're going to rotate the crank over 360 degrees, pointing north again, and then double check. They actually changed the timing procedure for the Gen 4 a little bit that makes this slightly simpler, because you're not really looking at O-clock positions. The only thing you're O-clocking is the crank, and that really just means it needs to be pointing up whenever you do this. So, and that only matters if when you go to put the chain on, the colored links don't line up. And they tell you to go ahead and rotate the crank 360 degrees and try again.
Line your marks up how they say to line them up before you take it apart. So the right side, because we can see it now, is easier to go off of. So you've got your keyway. We're going to say near about 12 o'clock. It was at 12 o'clock, but we rotated it around. And then your top cam sprocket is going to be pointed up.
Yep.
So
they don't say in a clock position.
Well, they move. So you
right.
know, so we're more worried about your colored link to colored.
Is
link.
it in the upper quadrant, right? So if whenever you, like, for instance, I'm going to show you the right hand side here, the passenger side. If when the crank is pointing up, the keyway is pointing up, the sprocket on the chain is not. When you go to put the link on, you can't line these two up because the keyway is upside down, the sprocket is upside down. You're going to rotate the engine one more time so that you can put the colored link on the R. See the R right here on it? That's the guy that you're looking for. Now
I marked it so you can see it in the video, because you won't be able to see the colored link very well.
It's washing out a little bit. Can you pull your light away? So what we're looking for is right there. You see our mark? We've got our mark on it. And then there is a mark on the, see it? See the line in the R right there? The arrow? Oh, there it is. See it really well when it turned red.
Yeah.
We're trying to point those two to each other. I'm just trying not to wash it out. You see how it's got a darker link on it? We've got our mark on it. See how that's pointing up? That's what, all that's important is that it's in the upper hemisphere and pointing up. You might be a little further one way or other way, just depending on where you're sitting. You can see our crank is also mostly pointing up right now. And then what's going to be a little difficult to show you, and I'm going to try because lighting. You see the colored link down here? That colored link is also pointing at the mark on the crank sprocket and is in the same place that the instructions here say that it should be. So if we look at the instructions, there it is. If we look here where it focuses in on the crank, see how it's in that downward 7 o'clock position, almost 8 o'clock, and we got our colored link down there lined up with that line. So that means our sanity check method, which was to just put Sharpie marks everywhere, and we put it back where it was, made sure that we were in time. But just to make sure, because engines are expensive, we went ahead and put the chains on, put it perfectly back where everything was lined up, and then used Ford's manual to make sure that we had the timing procedure done in the correct way. So now that we've done that, we are confident that this motor is in the same timing it was from the factory. We need to go ahead and put the timing cover back on and put this thing together. So we're going to put the timing cover on. We're going to put all of the bolts back. My suggestion to you is, if you don't have a really good memory with where your timing cover bolts are, maybe get you a piece of cardboard or label them well in a circle with numbers or something, because there are some that are a little bit different. Put them all back in the same place. And we'll bring you back real quick just to tell you the torque specs of each one of these bolts. All right, so clearly you're going to have to clean up some old silicone that was on here. There's going to be a silicone bead where the head meets the block on both sides, here and here. You're going to clean that up on both sides. And then there might be some excess silicone by the pan gasket down here. Do not get rough with this. Don't try to take a razor blade to it. There's a rubber seal there. And then while you're at it, there's going to be some sealant on the top of the head here where the oil pan, the valve cover meets the back of the timing cover. Go ahead and remove that while you're here. And now it's time to apply a daub of RTV in all of those places, and then we're going to stick the cover back on.
I'm gonna go your way. So pull.
I'm in a tricky situation with that Y hanging up along with this.
Over.
Where's my crank? Clearly somewhere. Come on up. Come on, guy.
I promise it's still in there.
There it is.
And sink it. Now I need a bolt. Are there dowels? There aren't dowels. There are dowels on this, aren't there? Yeah, it's on. Oh, it does the vibrate thing.
And turn green. I had a guy fucking break a bolt one time trying to get that thing to click. I turned to find out he couldn't hear the vibrator, or feel the vibrator, or hear the beep.
Oh, well.
Well, look for the green light, dumbass.
All right, so let's talk about torque specs for these bolts real quick. Ignore the degrees of rotation. These bolts have already been stretched. We're just going for the nominal foot-pound. So we're gonna do 18 foot-pounds on the big 13s that are on the corners, down here, up there, and then 106 inch-pounds for all of the intermediaries. Now, if you're doing a car without a Whipple, yours is going to look a little different. There's going to be extra bolts present here for doing the other bits of the timing cover. But because we have a idler assembly for the Whipple, there's different bolts and different torque specs. If you have a Whipple, check your torque specs out in the manual. If not, if you're in a turbo, whatever else, use the Ford specs for the rest of the cover. We're going to finish bolting this down and move on to the next step. We're going to have a separate video that explains how to install a super damper, and we're going to move on to explaining that. Otherwise, your install for putting your damper on is in the reverse order. Like, what do you recommend, Jordan? Because so many people with the stock damper say it's fine to just use the bolt. But you and I talked about how that is the most common reason for a snout failure, is that they don't get it deep enough trying to use the stock bolt, and the bolt stretches and they can't actually feel when bottom occurs.
Yeah, so I recommend using the actual installer tool, which looks, sorry, I've got a mess here.
Not my fault.
Sure, it's not. We have an installer, so basically it's a bearing on the end of this. So you thread this in where the bolt would go. This is a hardened installer, and it'll pull the bolt all the way down, so you're not actually requiring the threads to twist to pull it in. You're actually pushing it in.
Right.
And you're less likely to damage your crank that way, and definitely more likely to seat the pulley or the balancer onto the crank.
So when it hits bottom, you know. Like,
You know.
it's not like when you're dragging it with the stock bolt trying to run it down. This will move smoothly, hard stop. No movement, that's it. It's done. And you can't tell with the stock bolt. Now, he's got a really nice fancy one here. They do sell cheaper ones that are really only meant for like 1 or 2 uses, and they'll probably kill themselves. So I guess you just decide whether or not you want one in perpetuity or one that's a couple of uses. He's got the nice one. So I say all of that to say, we're going to put this engine back together again. Now listen to me. I am not going to go through and show you all of the bolts, all of the individual torques, and clipping this on and putting that back. I did when it came apart. I'm sure as hell not going to do it going back together again. If you can't figure out how to put your engine back together again after doing this, don't do it. So go ahead, put everything back together again in reverse order. Use the installer tool to put your crank back on, the pulley on without hurting it. And what's the torque spec on the crank bolt?
Depends on the bolt you're using.
Right, because I would highly recommend, if you're willing to do this kind of crap, you really ought to use the ARP bolt, which tells you the torque spec. You have the FFRE stud, which tells you the torque spec. And then you have the stock bolt, which Ford tells you the torque spec for that as well. So just whatever you use that depending. We're going to have a separate video on this guy if y'all want to see that. I'll link it down below or something like that, or go look in the S650 playlist if you want to see how to install the ATI with an FFRE stud, which is what we're going to use, the crank saver stud. Anyways, put your junk back together again, and we'll bring you back.
Now make sure you ram it all the way home with an impact, right?
Yes. No, don't do
do
that.
Okay.
Don't ever do that. Jordan's being fun and facetious because people probably do that, but we're going to put a torque wrench on this, and the torque spec says 120 foot-pounds. If you're brave enough to get there, drop a comment down below. We're going to go until it feels like the bolt's going to break, which is apparently somewhere around 100 foot-pounds, and we'll let you know. Anyways, it's on there. Now, as I told you, don't try to struggle this stupid belt off. the crank, just cut it and get a new one. I mean, do you really want to go back in and replace this anyways if it's got some love on it? So mine's only got 11,000 miles on it. We're going to put it back. Just cut it and put a new one on. Now I'm sure you've got some sort of fantastic trick to putting this back on again. No?
Yep. I'm going to watch you struggle through it.
Oh, great. Okay. I'm going to hand the camera to someone and we're going to watch me be in pain. All right. So I've got a wrench on the crank so that I can rotate clockwise. Generally with engines, most of them spin clockwise. Try to only spin clockwise. Got the belt fully on the crankshaft. And then Jordan has told me here the best way to do this is to start it on the bottom.
Is that what I said? I didn't say it was the best way. I said that's the way you're going to do it.
He said that's the way that I'm going to do it, jackass. We're going to start it on the bottom. I'm going to push the belt's first rib onto the pulley here and keep rotating the crank and pushing the ribs over, forcing it to walk its way onto the compressor. Now, considering what he just said is probably not going to be that easy. What he did warn me, and I immediately realized, keep your fingers out of the gap between the two. So I'm going to push at the bottom, begin to start that belt, and start rotating the crank. And we're gonna hope for the best, apparently. So the crankshaft side is now walking back over. Now, if people are watching at home, I've got a feeling that this is literally the process. If I look goofy and inexperienced, it's because I am, but realistically, it's just a pain in the dick. Come on, compression. There it is. Yep, it's on there. Woo! That is my first time putting a stretch belt on a Ford. I've heard about how much of a nightmare that can be. It's not horrible. I think if you did enough of them, it's probably not too bad.
Yeah, it's not. And there's like with the factory crank pulley on some of them, because they have a hole through them, you can run a zip tie through it and it'll hold it and it'll pull it around. So then you put it on this side, put the zip tie here, and you rotate it around and it'll pull it on.
It just walks itself.
But
right
because you don't have
place.
any holes here, and
Yeah.
I don't have any tools that wouldn't mar up your brand new fancy balancer, that is the best way to do it. I mean, I'm sure somebody out there has a better way, but like I can do that in like 3 rotations, you know.
Because he's more impressive than I am. That's what he's trying to say here.
I did not say that.
He said that.
Practiced. I'm more practiced than you are.
He's more impressive than I am. Anyways, that's it. Go ahead and put your drive belt and everything back on again. That's a harmonic balancer install. And a side bonus, fussing with the AC belt. We got you. All right, y'all. It's actually the next day. Filming takes forever.
It's day 362.
Yeah, we'd grow beards if it were easier. Filming makes everything take forever. And we ran into a couple of little unique issues along the way, but clearly we've got the entire engine bay put back together here. Seth went out to grab some coolant. We've got the vacuum on it. It's holding vacuum. We're gonna suck fluid in it and then we're gonna fire it up. All right, so what we're gonna do here is Jordan's gonna put it in accessory, let it wake up. And then in a second here, it's gonna let him. Okay, so Jordan's got the car in accessory. We can see oil pressure up on the dash. So what Jordan's gonna do now is something called a flood start procedure, and that involves pushing the gas pedal to the floor, which the car will not start. It knows what we're trying to do here. And then he's gonna push the button and let it crank. And what we're looking for is to see the car build oil pressure. Whenever you're ready. Again.
There we go.
Just starting to come up. Here she comes, and then you heard the tensioner shut up. We're gonna do that one more time, make sure she's happy. Now we've got a safe amount of oil pressure. It's not gonna get any higher than that cranking. You ready?
Ready when you are.
I'm gonna back away. Let's let it start. Cross our fingers. Only 104 PSI of oil pressure. Jeez. Nice. No funny noises. Awesome.
Oh, it's out of
gonna burn all the shit off the headers.
Oh yeah. Hopefully there's not poop on the headers.
Huh?
So hopefully it's not poop on the headers.
There might be poop on the headers.
Well, just because of this morning.
Yes. We're not gonna talk about this morning, Jordan.
You're not going to talk about this morning.
Still at 100 PSI. Wow, boy, those oil pump gears. Let me zoom in for y'all. They make some pressure. You hear the car is in like mid idle. It hasn't gone to low idle yet. We're still at 102 PSI. You want to check the oil level?
We will.
All right, Jordan says it won't blow up. Let's find out. Pretty noisy. Pretty noisy. Nice. She's noisy again. All right, y'all. So we've finished. The car is running. We just have some wash up to do because obviously you're going to get coolant everywhere. You want to save yourself some sanity, just wash the car down really well because you've got oil, you've got coolant, etc. Now, there's some things, and don't skip through this, please, for the love of everything. Take a minute and listen to the words that are going to come out of Jordan and I's mouths here for probably the next 5 to 10 minutes. It's worth it. The first thing I want to start with, and then Jordan's going to lay into after, is my opinion about whether or not, you know what, I'm wrong. You do it first. Explain to you what and how we did what we did today and for what reason.
Sure.
And then I'll give my opinion on whether or not after that you should try.
All right, so we kind of had this plan where we were going to come up here and do oil pump gears. And originally, I think I might have been the one that was going to do it, but I think we decided it would be better for you guys to see what it would be like if someone that hasn't done 700 sets of them would do it and how it would go. So we kind of allowed for him to, for JB to make some mistakes and take his own route and do his own things his own way and things like that. And we did that because that's what you guys are going to do if you try to do your own oil pump gears. Obviously, as our shop, that we would have done things, a lot of things very differently. So when you see things, you're like, we're allowing those things to happen for the sake of, like, you're in your garage, you're going to have to figure this out. We can only do so much on the video, and so many things can go wrong or change or deviate from what you expect, that if you don't have a ton of experience with it, you're going to have to shuffle through and work through it, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, the way we did things, like, we marked some things that, like, we marked all the timing and stuff. We did that as a backup, so I could let him try to time it on his own without help and just see how kind of confusing in some ways that it can be.
Yeah.
And so, from our perspective, we wanted you guys to see what it would be like to actually do it.
Right.
And so I guess I'll leave that to you now.
There were absolutely multiple things here that I did that Jordan wouldn't have. There was an incident yesterday where
I wasn't going to bring it up.
You know what? I thought about it overnight and I was going to bring it up. Where I was putting the driver's side valve cover back on and I checked to make sure the harness was out of the way the first time, and then I popped it up a bit to put silicone to set it back down again, and well, the harness that goes to the crank angle sensor on the back of the engine just happened to have tucked half of itself under the valve cover on the way down. And that is a lot harder to feel with that nice big rubbery gasket Ford has on that valve cover than you might think. And someone like these guys that have done it a million times, they just know because they know what it feels like every single time. And then that kind of like that muscle memory is a big deal whenever you do tech work for a living. I just didn't, and I got it tight enough that it hurt the wire before I'm like, something's not okay here. And they would have probably found it one click sooner and have saved the wire. I didn't. So we ended up burning probably the better part of an hour, lifting, like disconnecting the harness in a few places so we could shuffle it around the back side of the blower and perform a wire repair, because I actually ended up cutting one of the wires. It got pinched so bad. Those sorts of things happen. We talked about how the snout of my crank, the keyway is just a little shallower than it's supposed to be. The key sticks up a little more than it should. And now we're whipping out files and emery cloth and very carefully trying to manually machine something to fix, because, well, Ford's tolerances aren't perfect. That's why their crank sprocket is designed with so much tolerance leeway. It ended up feeling great after. Like, it's like the ideal crank sprocket situation. It's making the crank stronger because it required more than just slipping force to get it on there. You had to kind of
give it some good force to push it down, so it's actually helping support the crank. But that being said, what would have happened if I'd have been in my driveway and I would have taken my brand new Boundry crank sprocket, went to put it on, and nada? Because the factory one, it was like a hot dog in a hallway. You could on and off. That was probably a slightly inappropriate hand gesture. Let me sideways.
Better.
two at one time, sideways. It would have been brutal. It would have been rough. I'd have been questioning everything I had done.
Yeah, and the other side of that is we actually took and we mic'd the crank on the front, the middle, and the back to make sure that the keyway was in straight. If you don't know that it's possible for the key to like move or rock a little bit, you might be fighting something like that, and then like filing down on the keyway and actually make a problem.
Right.
You know. And so we went through it carefully and measured everything, and we measured the sprockets. We knew what we were dealing with.
Right.
And then we started machining. So like, there's a lot of things like that you really have to think about.
Right. And luckily, that manual machining aspect, I have some background in that. We're both very engineering mindset. So whenever it didn't want to work, we immediately stopped and backed off and took the crank sprocket back off and like, what is going wrong here? And whipped out a caliper and just started measuring everything. What has gone wrong? Is there something wrong with the crank sprocket? There wasn't. Boundary, if you're watching this. Is there something wrong with the crank? Is there something wrong with the key? What has gone wrong here? So don't expect to get into something like this and it's all gonna it's just bolts, it's parts changing. It's not. Shit happens. So from my perspective, my opinion is, if you were willing to do this without the video I just made you, and you were comfortable with it anyways, and you have the experience, then sure, do it. But if you were waiting for this video to determine whether or not you should be doing it and you were uncomfortable with it, don't. Just stop. Because what you're going to end up doing is an expensive tow truck ride to House of Boost for them to fix it. So why don't you just save yourself the money ahead of time, bring it to Jordan where he does like 15 oil pump gears a week. I know we joked about this back and forth, but legitimately, this dude can do like literally 2 sets in a day if he really puts his head into it. So just bring it to House of Boost. They charge a really reasonable price, especially considering the magnitude of skill and tools and knowledge that it is here. Just let them do it. And the benefit you get to that is, even with all of my tomfuckery trying to do it myself, because Jordan was right there watching and making sure that I couldn't screw anything up, we pushed the button to start the car, it built oil pressure and fired off. No funny noises you wouldn't expect, at least from the timing chain was tightening up and all that fun stuff. It was just what it was supposed to be. Now we have amazing oil pressure, a slightly worse for wear harness because I'm an idiot, a really snug fitting crank sprocket. Do you have anything you want to add to that? Yeah, I'd like a rating. Like if you were like a 1 to 10 and I was a new technician coming into the shop. And
Are you sure you want to do this?
I do. I do, because you do kind of have this similar situation going on right now. I'm sure you're trying to train people to do these things. A 1 to 10. For sure, you probably still want to watch me for the second one.
Yes.
But do you think by the third one, I'd be left alone to figure it out for myself? And from a 1 to 10, how did I do?
Let me replay the last 400 days in my head. I would say, because you kind of asked me 2 questions. By the third one, would I be okay with you doing it? Yes, I'd be okay with it. But I would that if I was paying you by the hour, I'd put you at like a 5.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's probably skewed slightly. I knew that answer was coming because filming makes everything take forever. And it's not just the fact that I'm filming, it's the act that, and Seth is pointing like I'm the one filming. Shut
no,
up.
No. I think he wants me to rate him as if he was going to do it.
Okay.
I give him a 7.
Yeah.
He didn't break a single thing.
Didn't break a single thing. The thought of thinking of what to film and how to position things, all of that stuff takes a real long. And I'm sitting next to other social media influencer, people who work in social media. Like, Avery's hiding her face.
You're hiding your face from social media as a social media person.
Well,
This stuff takes time. So I was really slow. Realistically, I know I was very slow. In fact, I know I was very slow. Once we were done with the important stuff and y'all watching me do the work, when it came to just whipping everything back onto the engine and Jordan got on the side of me and started doing work, I was slowing him down. Really, I should have just got out of the way and sat down and played on my phone. Just because he's so fast. Like, he had the alternator back on the car, and I had struggled with it a bit to get it out of there. He had the alternator back on the car so fast that I didn't even realize he had put the alternator back on the car, which is a tight place. You'll find out if you try to do this. So, yeah, 8 of 10 don't recommend is what I'm going to say here.
So you're on a don't recommend scale. So like 10 would be don't.
Just don't
And
ever.
8 is like just.
Obviously, somebody has to do it,
Yeah.
so I can't do a 10 of 10. I'm going
Gotcha.
to do an 8 of 10. Don't recommend. Like, unless you've worked in a very mechanical environment and timed a lot of complex engines, just leave it alone. There is so much opportunity, even if you're reading Ford's manual, to misinterpret the timing procedure for this engine, that at the very least, you're probably going to end up trying to put a Ford tech on the phone if you've got a buddy that's done it before, to ask them questions. Like, the manual is very ambiguous. It is really, really rather ambiguous. Like, I could look at that and then suddenly have 4 or 5 questions about, well, what do they really mean by that? And unless you've done it before, you don't have an idea.
That's fair.
You have anything else? Yeah.
I just read your mind.
Yeah.
I know what you were going to say. Yes.
When and why for oil pump gears?
So, being in the performance shop side of things, and knowing what my clients, customers, friends do with their cars, I would recommend it like right away. But that being said, your average like just get on it once in a while kind of person, that's probably gonna live. And you got to think that most of, like, especially for, are we talking in the context of S650, S550, S197, like so like S650s mostly are going to be under warranty. So if you're not going to touch it, you're not going to do anything to it, it will probably live. Now, I did show you my Dark Horse oil pump gears that had like 100 miles on them and already had signs of wear. So like those things make me a little on the nervous side as far as leaving it alone. But if you're going to do the stuff that we do,
Yeah.
and you're going to go to the track and do burnouts, and you're going to go drift, or you're going to street race in Mexico,
Yeah.
or whatever you're going to, like, just do it. Just have somebody do it. Like, just, I'm not going to say it's cheap, but it's cheap insurance. Like, it's downtime you're not going to have with your car putting an engine in it. It's money you're not going to have putting an engine in it. And if an oil pump gear fails, you're putting an engine in it. Like,
Yeah.
There is no, like, oh shoot, it might fail. There's no warning. It just goes from everything's great to nothing's great.
And when it's going to happen, like, you're asking yourself, well, what do you mean, like, depending on how you drive it? So when it's going to happen is, are you the type of person that from time to time leaves a red light spicy or slides out of a parking lot trying not to kill crowds, and you bounce the red line? The red line bounce is what's going to get it. And you might be like, oh, well, I'll just never bounce the red line. Bullshit. Let's be real here. You're going to, right? You're going to slide a little bit. You're going to be in the rain playing around. You're going to bounce the red line. That's usually when the oil pump gear is going to go, fuck you, and break itself, and it's over. So if there's a possibility you're going to bounce the red line, and you all are, just replace the oil pump gears. Now, you did kind of bring up a good point. The earlier cars were known for having oil pump gears, so if you have a Gen 1 Coyote, it's even more of a significant issue because they're kind of known for it. And that's what's got everyone scared about oil pump gears. And yes, they seem to have gotten better Gen 3, Gen 4. That's no excuse. You're
Marginally
still,
better. Like, not better.
Right. It's no excuse. You've got a grenade, pin is pulled, you're squeezing, and you're just waiting for you to bounce that red line a little too much, and tick, tick, boom, baby. And you say, like, we just need you to understand that Jordan's done hundreds of these, and they have many many examples of very new cars with very low miles, with cracked, broken oil pump gears, no other modifications, just driven, and they gave up. Could you estimate, what do you think is the percentage of kind of astonishingly low mileage cars that had actual oil pump gear failures, or you pulled the oil pump gears out like the one that we showed where it was cracked and it was about to go?
Gosh, I don't know, because you do so many, and we do so many preemptively, like early. I don't know. I would say 5 to 10% of the ultra low mileage cars I've pulled them out of show more wear than I would expect from an oil pump gear. And
mine is a good example, right? We've got significant cavitation pitting for a car with 11,000 miles. That's significant.
And we know you don't drive your car.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
Right. So you just know that, like I explained to y'all, that cavitation is literally an explosion happening at the tip of the rotor while it pumps oil. Eventually, that will cause the gear to fail. It's just constant pressure of explosions. You're going to have a failure. So, yeah, I've said all I'm going to say. It's probably been 15 minutes now. I don't know. Actually watch this. Actually listen to all of it if you've skipped to the end of this. It's important. But thank you so much.
Yeah, my
Jordan.
pleasure.
We've had an absolute ball here, and tomorrow we've got to wake up very early and drive 14 hours. I miss my family, but I'm going to miss these guys. They've been absolutely awesome. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you all for watching the video, and as usual, we love you. God bless. Peace.